Love you.
So we have to, I think, at the top here, take at least a brief moment to acknowledge the fact that TMZ, your beloved TMZ, got it wrong. Well, I think everybody got it wrong. It wasn't just TMZ, but TMZ is you've kind of heralded them as a reliable source of celebrity and cultural news.
Of every kind of news, TMZ is one of the best news outlets of our time that both follows journalistic standards and reports on things that rich people do, famous people do, that other places won't touch. But they were wrong this time, and that was surprising.
They were wrong that Beyonce was going to show up at the Democratic National Convention.
Right, because TMZ was the one that reported that, right?
I mean, it started for me on Twitter. I'm not entirely sure where patient zero is on all this, but it was a Twitter rumor. But then I want to say Reuters. There were other reputable news outlets that were saying that Beyonce was going to show up, and there was all this.
They were saying a chunk of time was cut out of the DNC for a special surprise, which there wasn't, right?
Yeah, and then you and I were going back and forth on a text thread about whether or not it would be Taylor Swift. I was trying to track her private jet from.
Brad is underplaying how intense he was about. Okay, in the Swiftie community, there's something called clowning. Have you ever heard of this term?
I have not. I mean, I've heard of clowning, but not in the Swiftie context.
So there's for example, the Swifties will read Easter eggs in a psychotic way that even I don't understand. And they'll get to the conclusion that, okay, Reputation, Taylor's version, which is one of the last re-records that Taylor is doing. They're it's going to drop tonight because of she put up a number 2 when she was on stage. And then if you go into her Instagram captions, there's 3 dots and they're all this just wild shit, right? And when you do that, it's called clowning. You're clowning for Reputation TV. It's not going to happen. You're always saying it's going to happen. You're clowning. You were clowning. It was a true Swiftie experience is what you had.
I think I might have a tendency to clown in a lot of scenarios.
I think that might be right.
Trying to read tea leaves, trying to figure shit out on the internet. It's it's a losing proposition.
I mean, I think it comes from a place of not being, you want to be glass half full. Oh, maybe all this good stuff's going to happen. Maybe this cool thing is being hinted at. Whereas I'm good things don't happen and you're wrong. And unfortunately, oftentimes that's the case.
Look at the light, Mira. Come on.
Yeah, that's my parents made a mistake.
Yeah, and for those of you listening, we should say that Mira's name is Mira Luz Gonzalez, and Mira Luz means look at the light. Mm-hmm. Her parents were trying to conjure a bright, sunny, optimistic child, but instead,
and then they got my ass.
So yeah, no Beyonce at the DNC, no Taylor Swift at the DNC,
no happy child for my parents.
Yeah, it was all just a complete wash. But the other thing, I mean, briefly politically, that I think kind of crosses over into cultural news is that RFK Jr., the scion of the Kennedy, political dynasty and the namesake of his father, Bobby Kennedy, endorsed Trump.
Dropped out and endorsed Trump.
Which it makes very little sense. It's two very strange people sort of uniting.
What are you going to do? Endorse Harris? I mean, of course he's endorsing Trump. He's always been a weird piece of shit.
It doesn't surprise me in the least that he's
and he's not going to get a cabinet position from Harris, and he might get something from Trump,
I mean, what would it be? That's what's terrifying because this guy, does he want to be in charge of the health and human services or
yes.
I mean,
that's what he wants, and God for fucking bid. I mean, I think, who knows what Trump is crazy enough to do, but God, I really fucking hope not. Otherwise, we're all going to fucking die.
I mean, what's so funny about it? I mean, it's just so brazen because you see all of these recent tweets from both of them just hating on each other. And Bobby Kennedy being I will never endorse Trump. He's a madman,
Well, it's just fucking Ted Cruz, in 2016, where it's he was Trump is a piece of shit. And Trump was your wife's ugly. And then they were having dinner, as soon as Trump was the nominee officially. It's so stupid.
It's stupid, but also terrifying. These people have no integrity. It's just you want to dangle a cabinet position in front of me? I will completely scuttle all of my most deeply held ideals in the
Yeah.
name of trying to acquire power for myself. But
I mean, a politician with integrity, that's wishful thinking on your side. I feel like we both represent the different ends of optimism. You're like, good things can happen. And I'm like, that's no, they cannot, Brad. That is very silly of you.
I think there are a few. I don't think they're necessarily normal. I don't think there's no politician with integrity, but I think that there are.
They have integrity in the beginning, oftentimes.
That's what I was just going to say. I think I would actually say that maybe even a majority of people who
Hmm.
get into politics get into it with good intentions, but that the
Yeah,
system is sick
breaks them down.
and it breaks them down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
So there's another piece of RFK
Yeah,
related
there's kind of
news.
three RFK like situations that we're all putting into this topic.
Yeah. So the first is that he endorsed Trump. I don't think there's anything else to say about it. I don't. I guess the question is, do you think it helps Trump to have RFK's endorsement?
I guess. I mean, like, yeah, probably. I mean, in so much as like RFK's, I don't think RFK like running would have really taken so many votes away from Trump that it would have been the difference between him losing or winning. But I mean, it'll probably help him a bit.
I bet. Yeah, I think it's like I don't know. We'll have to see, but I don't think the early returns are not like it's not
Yeah.
like striking. It's not like a striking difference.
I mean, RFK didn't have like, he had like a lot of followers for who he is and for the fact that he was like running independent and shit like that. But like, he doesn't have a lot of followers for like a presidential candidate necessarily, you know? Like, he's
He's
got
an
a
ant.
dedicated and like loud followers, but like not like as many voters as people who will like vote Democrat or Republican.
RFK Jr. is like the most like prominent anti-vaxxer in the country, right? He's like this hardcore anti-vaxxer. Trump created the vaccine and then thumped his chest about it. So there are RFK followers who are like his followers because they are anti-vaxxers who are like they can't believe that he's
Yeah.
endorsing Trump. So it's
And like, those are
complicated and
people who,
very strange.
and those are people who like would never vote for Trump or Harris to begin with. They're going to vote for like Tulsi Gabbard or some weird shit like that.
I don't get. Like, I honestly am fascinated by the psychology of the RFK crowd. Like, what animates them? I think it's a variety of things, but like, he's such a strange man to like
He really
glom onto.
is. He's like so kind of like charisma-less. I mean, he's been doing this for like a really long time. So I guess there like are people who have been following this who like are into weird health shit and have read like his anti-vaccine books early on. He was like one of the first people to kind of pioneer the like autism vaccine situation. So he's been one of these like freaks.
Which has been debunked.
Yeah, a million times over. Like, of course it has. It's just the fakest thing in the world. The only reason why people, and this is so stupid, but the only reason why people believe that to begin with is that the rise of autism coincided with the rise of vaccines. And that only happened because we discovered what autism was and gave it a diagnosis in like the 80s. And that's also when we started mandating vaccines. So like it's not a causation, it's a correlation. And like these people have just spent their whole lives thinking it's causation.
Yeah. So I don't know. That does damage. I got to say, speaking of clowning and being like a tinfoil hat person, when you listen to RFK, like especially on Ukraine, where he's like talking about how we need to just like cut Ukraine loose and let Russia have it, essentially, he's doing Putin's bidding in a lot of ways. And Putin and like American adversaries also have been known to spread anti-vax propaganda on social media because it makes our population less healthy. It sows chaos. So I'm like, in my tinfoil hat world, I'm like, I'm not saying this, I have no evidence for this. So I'm just speculating here.
And
But
Brad gets very tinfoil hat about Russia, so like prepare yourself.
yeah, I don't like Putin at all. And I think he's
Well,
a
neither do
really
I, but like you get very intense about it.
well, I just think they've fucked with our elections and he kills journalists and throws people off of roofs. Like this is a
No, you think the
cartoon villain.
Republican Party are like Manchurian candidates, kind of, right? Like more or
Well, I
less,
think Trump is. I
right?
think there
Not
is
the
some
whole party, but people in it.
people in it. And you know what? Also some Democrats probably are tangled up in Russian money and like, it's a weird nebulous
Left,
world.
right? It's like the Bernie Sanders and AOC. They just love Putin, and they're
No, they don't. No, they don't. They actually don't. But
no, I'm being funny. Oh, of course they don't.
yeah, but the like, just hear me out on this. Like, if you are Russia or Iran or any foreign adversary or some foreign country who's trying to sow chaos in the American political system, the namesake of the most famous Democratic political dynasty, I mean, RFK Jr., a guy who is like known to be an addict and like a ne'er do well son. I mean, at
So
least in his,
shitty as Kennedy
yeah, in his earlier years, like a guy who's like struggled with drugs and has been sort of debauched and,
kills
you know,
animals in the fucking craziest ways, and just like God knows what.
he would be an obvious target for a foreign intelligence service to say honey trap, which is how they do this usually. They honey trap these people. They put them in proximity to some pretty girl. They then get them on tape doing God knows what, and they have leverage. It's not crazy to me to think that that might have happened. Like, I mean, Bobby Kennedy, like, someone asked him about sexually assaulting his children's babysitter, and he was like,
He
"Listen,
did.
I'm no church boy."
Yeah, he was like, "There's yeah, exactly." He's like, "I've done some shit in my past."
I
Like,
mean, and you know what? We have all done some shit in our
okay,
past. I
but
don't
we
know if
have
we've.
not all raped somebody. That
That's
is one
right. That's
thing.
right. And so, if he's willing to say that, like, sort of casually, and this may have happened when he was done with his like hardcore drug phase, what might have he had done if he'd
Well,
been.
I think that's a good transition into the next two RFK stories that we have, which reveal that like there is no fucking way in hell that this man hasn't done some of the worst things that a person can do. Just these are the stories that are coming out. So,
It's strikingly unusual, these stories. So
mhm.
what do we got? I mean, like, what's the latest on him?
Okay, so dropped out, endorsed Trump. We know that. So I guess now Ben Affleck are one of our favorite stories. Also, we didn't include this in the topics just because it's very obvious, but him and Jennifer Lopez did officially get divorced.
They did, yeah, finally.
And ever since then, Jennifer Lopez has been posting pictures of herself looking really hot. I have to say, I respect the way that you'll never see her down. She gets divorced. Next day, she will be looking hot as hell on a yacht. She's like going Elizabeth Taylor style with divorces, which I kind of respect.
I feel like she'll be dating somebody else too soon.
Oh, in
Like,
2 seconds.
she'll bounce back.
Absolutely.
She'll
Yeah.
bounce back ASAP.
And she'll get another husband. And I hope she gets 20 husbands throughout her life. I think that that's nice for her.
What's the
I think
number? Yeah, is there a number that would satisfy you? Is it 20?
well, what did Elizabeth Taylor have? That would satisfy.
6.
6
I
is okay.
I
Yeah.
want to say it was 6, something like
I
that.
think even 5 would be, I'd be like, all right, you're kind of chic. Honestly, how many does she has right now? 2?
She's had 4.
4. That's chic. She's already chic. It's already chic as hell. She's gotten 4 divorces and she still looks that good constantly.
Yeah.
Never breaks down. That's kind of like, she seems, and I know for a fact that she's an incredibly rude and difficult and shitty person to work with, but that's kind of sick. The divorces are kind of cool.
Look, she's a pro celebrity.
Yeah.
She is nobody to mess with. She's a formidable celeb, and she likes to be famous, right?
You ever think about the fact that if Selena was never killed by what's her face, then J-Lo would never be famous?
I mean, I've never thought of that, to be honest, but I guess, fate has its way of turning, right? I mean, certain things happen, and next thing you know,
One person's loss is Jennifer Lopez's gain. So, okay, so Jennifer Lopez, Ben Affleck, Dunzo, Splitskis. They've been that for we've known.
it's been coming for like months.
It's been a long time coming. So he now, I guess, has been seen with Kick Kennedy, spelled like kick, like a drop kick. Now, can we talk about the name for a second?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
This is the kind of name that only
My daughter Punch.
it, it only is bestowed upon the waspiest of wasps. This is the waspiest fucking name. Kick, like flip. What
Yeah,
there's all
flip.
tippy, like all that
Oh my
sort of
God.
shit. It's just old money.
Yeah.
You can't have a name like that and get away with it unless you are to the manor born.
Yeah, and it's still fucking ridiculous, and it just makes me feel like all rich people kind of hate their children.
I don't know. And maybe it's a nickname. I guess it's sort of cute. Maybe it was like some kind of like in utero thing. If it was a specific.
Maybe it's cute as a nickname, but I don't think it's even a nickname. So this leads to another horrifying story, which I have open on my phone just so that.
But wait, Ben Affleck is dating Kit Kennedy.
Yes.
Can I just say, like this often happens in the culture in ways that kind of rankle me or cause me like sort of mild upset. Is the way in which like these stories converge. Like
Fucked up.
the Ben Affleck and J-Lo story somehow
How
converges with the Trump RFK Jr. story. This is these circles of celebrity and like great wealth and privilege.
rich people are like a small community, and they all are. It's like there's a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 of them, and they're all just constantly intermingling.
And they can't really intermingle with civilians.
No.
They always intermarry. They like celebrities always date other celebrities.
Well, and the second they intermingle with the civilian, they're no longer a civilian, and then that person is involved in the whole fucking situation.
But like there are rare instances, like Matt Damon. Speaking of Ben Affleck, Matt Damon married like a bartender.
Pierce
That's like
Brosnan.
did he? He married just
Yeah.
like a normie. Like
Normal lady, been married for like 35 years or something like that.
Matt Damon seems to be in a good marriage. Like it's
Mhm.
like more celebrities should take note and like,
It's hard though. If you don't meet that person before you get famous, it's like
Matt Damon met
really
her after
fucking
he got
hard.
famous.
I mean, that's fucking rare. That is rare as fuck and difficult. That's
Yeah.
like,
Lucky for him.
but, and you rarely ever see that with women and husbands, with women dating men. You often, not often, but sometimes you see a Pierce Brosnan or a Matt Damon who's been married to the same lady forever. But it's much more rare that famous women have been married to the same guy forever and the guy is not famous. I think because of ego. I think
Yeah.
men have a hard time being with women who are like more successful than them.
Maybe. Yeah, I think that's true.
Women don't struggle as much with it.
Yeah. I wouldn't struggle with it.
No,
Wish
never.
my wife can become famous. I'll be happy to be her side
Yeah.
piece.
You'll be like, hell yeah, money. I'm fucking let's go out with my kids, hang out, podcast, no
Yeah.
problem.
I would love it. It'd be great.
I mean, I'm with you. Look, fucking, I'm sitting here waiting for Tyler to become a billionaire so that I can give away all our money and stop being billionaires.
Yeah. Well, let's I mean, Ben and Kick, I guess I wish them happiness. He seems to be like I wish him happiness. I don't have any problem with any of these people. Like it's just
Did you
I-
see the story J-Lo dropped that was like Ben Affleck has a darkness to him that no woman can solve?
maybe so, but like
that's just all men from Boston, I think.
I think it's clearly like PR spin too. It's like trying to get
Yeah.
the upper hand on the narrative and all the shit that goes down in like in a acrimonious divorce. It's sad. And like, I mean, I think you had it right. There was something sort of manic and rushed about
Yeah.
the return of Bennifer and like getting back into that relationship. And
We've
I
all
think-
fallen back into the arms of an ex and then been like, holy shit, I was insane.
yeah, I was right the first time that this,
Yeah.
wasn't a good fit. And so
Yeah, I forgot why.
I feel bad for him that it blew up and that it didn't work out. And
Seems like he's moved on though.
oh yeah, he seems, I don't know. He's got like depression and addiction issues. He's talked
Does he have
about it.
addiction issues?
Say what?
Does he have addiction issues? Is
Yeah, very well. Like, I mean, I've heard him
yeah.
I've heard him talk about it on Howard Stern really openly and like,
like cocaine and stuff, right?
yeah, alcohol, all of it. But I'm sure like he, I'm sure
He's
like,
got that annoying piece of shit brother too that would make me do drugs.
wait, is he not a good guy?
Casey Affleck? No. No, he's
boy.
not.
Is anybody good? I just want people to be
No.
good.
No, they're not. And it's better to like with people that wealthy, it's guilty until proven innocent. That's how I live my life, and it's a lot easier.
See, I'm always like, yeah, I'm just like rooting for you, and then like,
It's about not getting parasocial. It's like, okay, I've
Yeah.
liked. Well, that's a lie. I was going to say I've liked some movies Casey Affleck has been in, but I don't think that I actually have. But like,
oh my god, what was that movie I fucking saw? It was like Thanksgiving weekend. You know how everybody goes to the movies like on like
Yeah.
the Friday after Thanksgiving or whatever.
Yeah.
We were with my folks, and so we left the kids with my folks. My wife and I never get to go out because our kids, we
was it fucking Ghost Story? Is that what you saw?
saw Manchester by the Sea.
Oh, even worse. Oh my fucking god.
That movie destroyed me. That was the most like literally we're like, we're finally like free. We can go have dinner and see a movie, have a glass of wine and like, all that married dating shit. And like we go to see Manchester by the Sea and like literally just drove home in like a like shattered
Silence.
silence. Yeah. Just like went to bed.
That is so like the thing is about like have you ever heard that John Waters quote that's like when I go to the movies, I want to have a bad time. That's how I feel about movies. I want to come out of the movie like, oh fuck, I'm scared, I'm ruined, this is fun. But it has to be in a certain way. If it's like all the kids in the movie died, oh no, or like the family is like getting a terrible divorce, or people are falling out of love, no. But if it's like, Toni Collette is chopping her head off with piano wire, yes.
Like, well, yeah, like a horror movie, I think is actually, I said this
Or
recently.
even a stressful movie I can enjoy, like a really like Uncut Gem style, like stress, like intense thing I can really like. But that
Yeah.
kind of sadness,
That's too much. It was, yeah.
yeah.
I like, listen, life is sad enough. I don't
Yeah.
need it. I don't need extra, like I don't need anybody to like clarify that for me. Like, I got it.
Yeah. Life is sad, life is fucked up.
Yeah,
It's awful.
I got it.
So, okay. So the reason why we bring up Ben Affleck, besides the fact that we just like him and he's one of our favorite ongoing pop culture things, is that he is dating fucking Kick Kennedy with her fuck ass name.
I've never heard of her before.
Neither
I know
have I.
nothing. I know nothing about Kit Kennedy.
Neither have I. But apparently she is one of RFK's children. Fun fact that I learned today. Taylor Swift, in like a decade ago or something like that, she was incredibly fascinated with the Kennedys. It was like one of her obsessions. She read like all these books about the Kennedy women and shit like that. And she then started dating Connor Kennedy and like infiltrated the Kennedy family. They like
Also known as Chop.
Chop.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god, I was about to be like, holy fuck, seriously? But apparently that's also RFK's child. I did not know. So there were
Yeah.
photos of Taylor Swift and RFK hanging out at barbecues together.
Yeah. I mean,
RFK
that's what I'm
Jr.
saying. Like, as we were saying, these circles are small.
So in this, there's an article about Kit Kennedy after this Ben Affleck thing came out and after RFK dropped out, I guess. I don't really know why there was an article about her. But in this article, she tells yet another horrifying RFK dead animal story. Now, I feel like I should do some kind of warning here because this one's like really, really, really disgusting. So if you're eating, maybe like pause for a moment or something like that.
Wow.
So I'm just going to read the quote exactly. So when Kik was 6 years old, RFK Jr. got word that a dead whale had washed up on Squaw Island in Hyannisport. I don't really know where that is.
It's in Massachusetts.
Okay, so Bobby, who likes to study animal skulls and skeletons, ran down to the beach with a chainsaw, cut off the whale's head, and then bungee corded it to the roof of the family minivan for the final 5-hour haul back to Mount Kisco, New York. So a whale head, a dead whale head, bungee corded to the top of his fucking car, the minivan. Every time we accelerated on the highway, this is Kik talking, she said every time we accelerated on the highway, whale juice would pour into the windows of the car, and it was the rankest thing on the planet. We all had plastic bags over our heads with mouth holes cut out for the disgusting whale juice that was coming into the car, and people on the highway were giving us the finger. This was normal day-to-day stuff for us.
Wait, why are your windows open on the highway with whale juice pouring into your fucking car?
I don't think that the windows were necessary. Well, Jesus, I mean, if the windows were open, that's fucking fucked. But like, I think maybe it was like the smell.
Dude.
Like, but I was imagining them just like leaking through the fucking windows because there's so much fucking whale juice. Like a whale's head is fucking gigantic.
And you want to look at the skull?
What are you gonna do with it? Where are you gonna put it?
Well,
it's a whale skull. It's huge. It's like as big as my bedroom.
It's just odd. Like, listen, I get if you're like truly a scientist, if you're truly like a marine biologist or something,
and you don't show up to the beach with a chainsaw.
Yeah, you have a team.
At all.
You have fucking Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah, exactly. You have a team that is fucking taking samples and doing all this shit. You don't show up with a chainsaw and take the head of the head of a whale. That is so gigantic. How did he carry? Did all the kids help him carry that to the car? Again, there are a lot of details here that I don't understand and that I need to know more about.
And like this might be a reach, but this feels like rich people shit.
It's
Like,
rich people shit, and it's also psychopath shit. Like torturing small animals or large animals or liking dead animals in general, psychopath shit.
just
That
being
fucking bear story. I have something to say about that bear story that I didn't say before.
where RFK Jr. like planted a dead baby bear in Central Park and tried to stage it as though a bike had run over it.
Right, and claimed that the way he found the dead bear was that a lady ran over it in her van, hit it with her van.
Right.
Okay. I spoke to somebody I know who is a friend of my mother in law who lives in, I want to say, Colorado, somewhere where there are bears regularly. And I asked her, do you ever see a bear cub without its mom? And in an instant, she said, no, never. Never, ever. If there's a bear cub, its mom is nearby. That says to me that he shot the bear cub, shot the mom, took the bear cub.
I think it's unlikely. It's always possible that like the mother was nearby.
But the
But
mother, I asked, like, if you had shot, I literally asked, if you had shot or hit the bear cub with your car, would the mother run away? She said, no, the mother would run towards the dead bear.
yeah, I think so. I mean,
This man is a psychopath. He's killing whales and bears. Like, those are big fucking animals.
I just think,
And goats, dogs, like fucking crazy shit.
well, he didn't kill the whale. The whale was dead.
Okay, he chopped its head off. Imagine being next. I've seen a dead whale on a beach. It's horrific. It is a horrific sight. It smells terrible. It's huge. It's disgusting. You don't want to look at it. You want to run from it. I cannot imagine taking a chainsaw to that.
And just to be like, like kind of an amateur naturalist, this guy, I mean, RFK Jr. doesn't have any training, right? I don't think he has any
No. He was like an environmental preservationist or something like that, but he doesn't know shit about fucking cutting a whale's head off.
It just seems like it's the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, I can do this. Like
Yeah.
it would never occur to me
Mm-hmm.
to be
That's
like, oh
right.
yeah, there's a dead whale on the beach. It's my right to go like chop its head off and strap it to my, or I should be the one to examine this whale's
It's
brain or whatever.
antisocial behavior, and you're right. It's rich people shit to be like, oh, it's fine for me to do this. Like, I'm allowed to. Like, no
Yeah,
normal person would be so presumptuous as to be like, it's fine for me to do this.
yeah. It's like
They would at
in the
least think that,
weirdest
oh, this
way.
is
It's
illegal.
kind of a
And
reach, but I think there's some truth to it. Like being like, yeah, I'm going to chainsaw this whale's head off and strap it to my minivan. It's the kind of thing only I think a really rich person would probably feel like
yeah,
was a good idea.
like my grandpa he does spearfishing. He's like a professional fucking scuba diver. Like, he does this shit. There was a dead whale on the beach. He showed it to me. It was a whole crazy thing. And he went to the people who were doing the removal of the whale and said, can I have one of the bones? And they were like, you're fucking insane, but sure. And my grandpa has a giant whale bone. And it's really cool. But like, that's what you would do if you want a piece of a fucking dead whale. You go to the professionals and you're like, can I have this part of the whale or whatever? And my grandpa knew he wanted a piece of the spine to use as a seat in his house, and it's neat. But like, why would you do it with a fucking chainsaw yourself? That's psychotic.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. The whole thing's so fucking odd. It just is. And I mean, is that it for RFK? We've got his daughter dating Ben Affleck. He
Mm-hmm.
chopped a whale's head off and strapped it to the van, and like it was
Dropped
so,
out of the race.
and he dropped out of the race, and like basically, I don't even know how you match up. I mean, this guy's like supposedly an environmentalist,
I'm gonna miss
and
his campaign. I wish that, like, I want more of those insane stories to come out. I feel like it was really entertaining.
I think there might be some more.
I think so too. I hope so.
I mean, there's got to be Oppo happening.
I mean, he dropped out and this one came out right away. So, like, and this was like his daughter being like, haha, funny story. So, God knows what else there is.
Charming, like dear old dad.
Yeah. Well, dad always did wacky things like that.
I mean, maybe I'm going overboard. Maybe it's like he just loves animals and he's into dead animals, but
He loves animals. So, he shot two bears and he fucking cut a dead whale.
allegedly, theoretically shot two bears. We don't know if he
Theoretically, allegedly shot two bears, but fact had his fist in a baby bear's brain for a picture.
he did.
Yeah. They had, like, professionals looked at it and they were like, his fist is halfway into that bear's brain.
He's a strange guy.
He's a psychopath.
Yeah, he's got problems.
He's a fucking psycho. So, okay, let's see. So that's That's what we got for RFK, right? I always feel like I'm forgetting something with RFK because there's so fucking much, but I think
It,
that's it.
he contains multitudes. I'm sure we'll come back. We probably will revisit RFK at some point, but I
I'm
feel like
sure.
that covers it for this week. What else is there in the celebrity cultural firmament?
So this isn't exactly celebrity news, but maybe you've heard of it. It's a story that I've been just following so closely because it's so fucking horrifying. So there are two astronauts right now. They went to the International Space Station 8 months ago
Right.
for an 8-day mission for research into some space shit. I don't really know. They have been now out there for, I believe, 4 months. So they went out there for an 8-day mission. They've been out there for 4 months because the ship that they're in, it started. I don't really understand how spaceships work, but it was like it started leaking helium or something like that. It it fucked up. Their
All
ship
right.
it doesn't work anymore. Got
Yeah.
them stuck in space, can't drive the ship back to Earth. Guess who made the spaceship?
Boeing.
Yep, Boeing made the fucking spaceship.
What is up with this fucking company?
It's fucking insane. So like they fly to space in this fucking janky ass Boeing spaceship, which then as soon as they get to the International Space Station, ceases to function for whatever scientific reason I don't understand. And they're stuck in space. And they have been for fucking 4 months now. And it's been a constant thing with NASA trying to figure out how the fuck do we get them out of the International Space Station. Now, I've done some research into this because I'm insane and I'm unemployed and I have time on my hands. But also, like, okay, so there's something called the Wolf Agreement? The Wolf Agreement Space. It's something like that. The Wolf Amendment. There's something called the Wolf Amendment, which says that NASA is never allowed to ask China for any help with anything involving space, period. I don't know why the fuck this exists, but we are not allowed to say if we have astronauts stuck in space and they're gonna explode, we cannot say, let's put them in the Chinese part of the International Space Station so they don't explode. We're not allowed to. So the reality is, if that didn't exist, we could say, China, could you help us out? And they could just bring these people home. But we won't do that. So what's happening now is that NASA has hit up SpaceX and said, we need help getting these astronauts home. They have, I believe, 1 week of air left in this Boeing aircraft that they're in. After that, they're going to have to abandon the aircraft and spend time in the International Space Station, and the aircraft is going to go away. So they will be stranded without an aircraft in like a couple of days. So they talked to SpaceX and said, basically, we need you to fly your aircraft out there, save these people. But the issue, which is so fucking stupid, and which is why we need government control of all this shit, the spacesuits that NASA has and the spacesuits that SpaceX has aren't compatible. The two don't work together. So, like, they're having this issue where it's like they need to create compatible spacesuits that will work in both the International Space Station and in this SpaceX plane or SpaceX ship. Otherwise, they're going to, like, die in space, basically. And now they're saying that they're not even going to be able to get them out of space, even if the SpaceX rocket works, which is a question. Even if it works, they won't be able to get them out until February of 2025.
What the fuck? Okay, so first things first, though. Are these two? There's a man and a woman, an astronaut.
They're fucking in space for sure. We all know they're fucking
Are
in
they
space.
single? Are they
I
single?
mean, it doesn't matter. I don't think if once you're stuck in space for 3 months, you're fucking whether you're single or not. Like
Do we? I know we probably don't have confirmation on any of this, but like, do we have any like historical confirmation on whether or not anybody ever has had sex in space?
No, but we do have historical confirmation of NASA specifically not doing, like in the past, would not do missions like this where it was just like a dude and a girl, like because they wanted to avoid that specifically. It was like they did like all girl missions or like all dude missions or like, maybe one girl, but it was like they like manned missions specifically to avoid that.
So, okay, so let's say they're single. If they're both single, I think the odds are, I mean, there's decent odds that something
Okay.
happens.
They've been up there for 4 months. Let's say they're both married. It's still 100% odds that they're fucking.
Okay, because this is the thing. Imagine being the spouse of an astronaut who's stuck in space with another woman.
I would say I get it. What would I understand? It's like they're maybe gonna die out there. They're fucking stuck out there. They're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like if they like are gonna die, they're talking to me all the time. They love me or whatever. If you're kind of fucking somebody who you were stuck in a spaceship with for months, if they came back alive, I'd be like, we can never talk. We just never talk about it again. That's fine. Whatever. Like it's the one kind of cheating where I would be like, that's fine.
If they are single and let's say they're single and they come back,
Trauma
the
bond.
best case scenario is that they're single and they come back from space and then announce that they're a couple.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happened even if they weren't single when they went in. There's like a trauma bond that's so intense there that nobody else could possibly understand, where it's like they're the only two people who were ever stuck in space like that. I feel like that might give them a bond that nobody else has.
like this is their Vietnam.
This is their, this is their Vietnam, exactly.
Well, I mean, honestly, like I'm not claustrophobic, but like to be up in space like that, just like stuck on that stage, you can't exercise or do anything, no fresh air. It's just like, ugh.
I mean, it just really makes me feel like I've always been right in my feeling of leave space the fuck alone. I don't want to go there. I don't want to know what's up there. Just don't go there. Leave it alone. It doesn't want us. I don't want it. No.
Yeah, I've always had the same feeling. I like
just leave space alone. Fuck
like
space.
Mars.
No.
You want to go to Mars? Have you seen Mars?
Yeah. What the fuck? And like, have you ever looked into like what it takes just to go to the fucking moon or the International Space Station? It's like the whole fucking spaceship, the whole rocket smells like poop because you were shitting in the middle of the fucking spaceship the whole time. Literally, you were on a fucking spaceship where the entire air smells like shit constantly.
Ugh. I mean, I get it from like
and you come home and your muscles are atrophied and you can't walk.
Yeah, I mean, I get it from a scientific perspective. If you're an astronaut and like some sort of like astrophysicist, and this is
there's a lot of science to be done on Earth, man. I don't,
you know, I've always had this feeling as well. I've never had any desire, even if it was like $5 to get on a rocket and go to the moon. I'd be like, nah.
How much money would someone have to pay you to go to the moon?
A lot.
Like $1 million?
Yeah, more probably.
I would do it for like 2 million.
I mean, yeah, it would take a lot, but I feel like the most.
It's like, what's your life worth, basically?
That's right, because there's a chance, there's a decent chance that things are going to go sideways. And like, I thought the most affirming thing I've ever heard about space travel and my aversion to it and my disinterest in like going to Mars or whatever it is that, animates certain people, especially billionaires, seem to be obsessed with Mars. But
yeah, because like we fucked up this Earth, maybe we can just go to another planet.
I don't think they're gonna go. It's like they seem to want to ship. They can ship the underclass off to Mars to like.
They've said they're not gonna go.
Yeah, but the most affirming thing that I've ever heard about space travel was when William Shatner went up in the Jeff Bezos rocket. Because he's like, oh, it's like Captain Kirk is going to space, and it was like actually like billed as this like really like stirring, like a guy like Shatner who's elderly going up into space, and it's like this new frontier and all this stuff. And then the rocket came back down, and Shatner got off of it, and like either made a statement immediately or made a statement like a few days after where he was like actually like kind of depressed and like sad. He was like, I just wanted to come back. He's like, there's nothing up there. It was like really like kind of, it was like in line with what we are saying.
Yeah, there's nothing up there. It's space. Like, that's it.
Yeah. It's just a fucking vacuum of emptiness. And there's no other, if there was a habitable planet like Earth, that was the distance even of Mars, if there was like Earth 2, and it was empty and pristine and the atmosphere was the same,
we would have already destroyed it.
I mean, yeah. But I mean, if we were like just now getting to the point where it was possible for human beings to travel there, this I could understand. And there would be some temptation.
If it was safe and people had done it a lot and it was like, okay, everyone's traveling to Earth 2 or whatever.
And it'll take like a year of your life to get there.
No, absolutely not.
I mean,
then it's like, okay, 2 years of your life gone. How much of your life are you spending on Mars 2? Like, what are you doing there? Do you have a house? Do you have food? Do you have friends? Do you have water? Do you have like any of these things that you need to survive? Do you have shelter? Like,
It would be like a pioneer existence, in the beginning.
yeah,
You'd have to
I don't want to
really,
look like a fucking pioneer. I like my iPhone.
yeah. So like the thing is that building up infrastructure, if you got the right people over there, could happen relatively quickly. But um, anyway, that's not the case. We don't have an Earth 2 anywhere near us, and
And
so
fuck space. Fuck space. Fuck the moon. Fuck space.
I like to look at
Fuck
it. I'll look at it through a fucking telescope. I'll look at the
that's it.
pretty pictures that like those
Don't put
satellites
money towards
take.
it. Don't put fucking like gas towards it. Don't give like no. Just be done. No more
Yeah,
space.
no more space. These poor people stuck up there, and I guess like it could be a rom com waiting to happen. That's the best case scenario.
A rom com where they both die in the end.
Or it could be like, yeah, it'd be like some sort of tragic romantic movie. But
Like that fucking movie where it's like, oh my god, what's it called? Someone watching is gonna know. Where it's Robert Pattinson and somebody else, and it's like a normal rom com. And then at the very end, you see him like talking to her on the phone. And they've like just made up, and it zooms out, and he's in the Twin Towers on September 11th.
oh my god,
End of the movie. Out of fucking nowhere, it's like a normal rom com, and then it's like Andy's in the tower.
oh god, that's like
Oh,
that's
man,
savage.
it was. I mean, it's such a fucking funny twist to look back on, where you're just like, what the
What?
fuck?
I
Like,
wish I knew what movie this was.
oh, I could look it up. It's one of our viewers. Please, if you remember the name of the story or the movie, please submit it, viewers.
Yeah, leave it in the comments. But all right. Well, I also think that if you have like American astronauts stuck up in space, like why do we have to wait until February to save these people?
Well, apparently that's how long it takes to. That's how long it'll take to like figure out how to get like the suits, even though they're not like compatible to work in this certain.
In the year
2024,
2024, we're still fucking with suits.
it's insane. It's like insane that this shit isn't standardized. Like, what the fuck? Why are there different suits? Like, that makes no fucking sense. And like,
Yeah.
none of it makes any fucking sense. None of it makes sense. It's fucking psychotic. And like, we can't, like, literally, we could just have somebody who is at the International Space Station from China walk over to these people, pick them up, and drive them home. But we're legally not allowed to do that.
Well, if the astronauts in the space station are listening, which they probably are, let's be
I'm
honest.
sure they are.
They must listen to a lot of podcasts up there. I bet they actually do, right? You could probably get like some
Yeah.
sort of satellite internet feed or whatever. And
I wonder how much internet they. I feel like if they had internet, they'd maybe be posting, but maybe they're not allowed to.
oh yeah, that's true. They better have internet. What are they doing up there?
Fucking.
That's what they're doing in zero gravity.
I mean, if you're that bored, like, you're fucking. Like, if you put two people in solitary confinement for a week, they'd probably be fucking.
That is, but we'll never know. I bet we'll never know unless they become a couple after they come down. And by the way, I know nothing of these people. I have no idea. They could be married.
I don't know
with
anything
kids,
about them either. They could be a married couple already, for all I know.
for all I know. So, what else is happening?
So let's see. Well, now we're going to do a bunch of stories that are like far less serious than the two astronauts who are dying in space.
It's all right. It's all right. We contain multitudes on this show.
So the next story is there was a article that came out in New York Magazine, photographed by David LaChapelle, of Charlie XCX. She was on the cover. I mean, it was a very David LaChapelle shoot. I thought it was really good. And the article was like an interview, and there was commentary and whatnot. So, okay, what's the easiest way to explain this? In the photos that David LaChapelle took, one of them was Charlie's hand cut off in a in like an ice bucket, like the way that you would if your hand got cut off and you went to an ambulance. And on the hand was like Taylor Swift style friendship bracelets, like the ones that they trade at the Eras Tour.
Okay.
And it said Charlie XCX on it. And a lot of Swifties and people in general interpreted this as like very insensitive, considering that there was like a planned terrorist attack at one of her shows, and there was that crazy stabbing of a bunch of children at a Taylor Swift themed dance party in London also.
I heard about that, but like that's what happened. Some nutball stabbed a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like children.
Ugh.
Really fucked. Yeah. Insane.
Okay.
And so Charlie coming out with these pictures is like not the most sensitive thing. At the same time, I do think that they were probably taken like before all this happened,
I
and like,
bet, yeah.
you know, like I'm sure it wasn't like intentional.
No, those kinds of feature stories probably are in the works like months ahead of time.
Yeah, and like David LaChapelle like takes a lot of editing for his photos and stuff. Like it takes like a lot of like post stuff for his pictures, so it probably was taken a while ago. But in the article, they asked Taylor Swift for comment, and so Taylor Swift and Charlie XCX have kind of an unspoken famous feud with one another that we've
You,
talked about before.
I was going to say, you explained this to me in a previous
Yeah,
episode.
yeah, and so in Brat there are lyrics that are clearly about Taylor Swift. There's a song called like Sympathy is a Knife where she's like, I hope she doesn't come to my boyfriend's shows. I hope they break up, because Taylor was dating somebody who is in the same band as Charlie's XCX boyfriend.
Okay.
So like whatever, Charlie XCX doesn't like Taylor Swift clearly and is constantly doing like little jabs being like, fuck you, Taylor Swift, or whatever, because she's cool. And she's too cool for Taylor Swift. Yeah, the lyric is, don't want to see her backstage at my boyfriend's show, fingers crossed behind my back, I hope they break up quick. So this article, they asked Taylor for comment, and because she's a publicity genius, instead of allowing the article to say like, we reached out to Taylor Swift but she didn't comment, Taylor, very in a way that is more classy than what I do, what I would do, she said, I've been blown away by Charlie's melodic sensibility since I first heard Stay Away in 2011. Her writing is surreal and inventive, always. She just takes a song to places you wouldn't expect it to go, and she's been doing it consistently for over a decade. I love to see hard work like that pay off. Really kind of makes Charlie look like a huge bitch, I think, for being so mean about Taylor, who like let her open, or like chose her to open at the rep tour when Charlie was not that famous. And then Charlie came out with like saying like, I'm tired of playing to kids, like about playing at the rep tour. Just been like a really bitchy.
I mean, I don't blame her for being tired of playing to kids, but if Taylor is giving
Keep
you
that
the
to
opening
yourself.
slot, what,
Yeah,
like
like that's
she's
mean.
she's making your career. Like, at least be
Yeah,
courteous. And like, it's like when
and
they
like
go
try
low,
to
we go
play
high.
good.
When they go low, like Charlie XCX went low and Taylor went high.
Exactly. And normally I'm like, well, they go low, I go lower. That's kind of my whole thing. But like Charlie XCX didn't know how to go low in a way that was smart.
Well, I think too, what this is it's kind of a flex on Taylor's part. I don't know anything about the pop music firmament other than I
It's
know
a
like
flex.
Beyonce. I know Beyonce is a megastar. I know Taylor Swift is a megastar. That's basically it. I know U2 is like a big rock band for boomers, and you know what I'm saying? Like I know like the big stuff. I have no idea how big Charlie XCX is in the culture.
Bigger in the UK. She's like big in the UK and like did come up from like a smaller music scene called PC Music. It was like a smaller record label, and like had these writers who were very, very good, basically like create a pop star in Charlie XCX. And she had some really interesting things in the beginning, truly, like with like great producers, great writers. And she's kind of gotten very mean and uninteresting since then, in my opinion.
I mean, these people get competitive. She clearly is jealous of Taylor's success.
And that's where like you're saying it's a flex on Taylor's part, because she's saying, I don't care about you enough to hate you.
That's
I'm
what I
like,
mean. You're
you're
small. You're
you're small.
small. I'm big. Good
I'll see
luck.
this little comment like, oh, she's very inventive. I love her music. And even that is kind of belittling, in that like they're coming to Taylor for a comment in an article that's about you, Charlie. And like she's making you look like a bitch by just saying bare minimum what you should be saying about any other pop star who's nice to you.
I
It's
mean,
like a display of PR, impressive PR on Taylor Swift's part and not on Charlie's part.
also just like human decency.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Like
like this
her staying
who
quiet, Taylor staying quiet this whole time, not ever saying anything about Charlie. And then the one time she does, it's just a positive thing about her music. It's classy.
I mean, what's interesting to me is these people's lives at these award shows, especially like are inevitably going to intersect like all the I mean, this has been happening since the beginning of celebrity culture, but it's like you're going to see these people again. You know, you're going to run into them, and there's all
Oh
this
yeah.
bad blood and weird jealousy, and everybody's dated everybody else in these tiny little circles. Like, it's just, I guess you just get used to it.
Yeah, and Taylor's also like just so big that I think she just doesn't go to events where somebody who she really hates or who really hates her is going to be there. Like it just never happens.
Oh, really?
She
Well, I
like
mean,
really like
she could
avoids.
also probably be insulated. She gets VIP treatment, like even within like the VIP.
Yeah, but if it's like the Grammys or something where she's being filmed and like if like Carly Kloss is going to be there, like Taylor just won't show up.
Doesn't Taylor go? Like, every time I turn on the Grammys, she's in the fucking crowd dancing.
Well, there's some, shows that she like clearly owns. Like I don't think Carly Kloss would ever try to go to the Grammys or the VMAs because
What's up with Carly
that's
Kloss? She's
story.
not even a musician, is she?
No, her and Taylor Swift like dated though forever, and then they were like, we're just best friends who like kiss at concerts and hold hands constantly and like go on dates and stuff. They were like best friends for like 8 years, and then they like stopped being friends as soon as she married fucking Jared Kushner's brother. But they were clearly dating, and she's like the muse for all these albums. It's like it's kind of sad, really.
She dates Jared Kushner's brother. She married Jared
Married
Kushner's
him,
brother.
yeah, Josh Kushner.
Another like weird intersecting circle.
Yeah, right.
Fucking A, man. All right. Well, I'm I don't. I'm glad like that Taylor isn't making this into an ugly scene. I think it's like, yeah, I think it's smart. Like, there's no need to like roll around in the mud with somebody.
Especially since like she's so connected to this like presidential campaign or whatever. Like Taylor's not gonna be like fuck Charlie XCX, and then people will be like, but Brett Summer and like Kamala and like whatever. Like
Oh yeah, that could become a story, and then that could be
yeah,
like that could somehow taint the Kamala campaign.
yeah,
I
like
mean,
or
in
like obtain her for not endorsing Kamala, like or whatever the fuck, like
to me, having to live your life under that kind of microscope and to have to make those kinds of like second and third order thought like calculations relative to public relations is a fucking nightmare. Oh
I
my
mean, it's why
god.
Taylor has a whole fucking team to handle it. It's why she's
Yeah.
got like the best fucking scariest publicist in the music industry.
I mean, I guess, yeah, you would have to, but
Hmm.
guess she's getting good advice or she has good instincts or some combination of the two.
Shout
But
out to Tree Payne, the best publicist in the music industry.
tree pain,
Hmm.
like tree, like the tree from the ground,
And
and
then
then
Payne, like T Pain, but
tree.
tree, like a tree.
Is that's not a given name? That's
Teresa Payne, I think is what it is.
oh, tree pain.
Yep. She's a she's a great publicist. Very scary.
Do you know her? Or I guess you just know her because she's Taylor's publicist.
She's like a known entity in like the Swifty like universe because she's always like walking around shows and like doing shit, and like people think that she's like a funny character because she never says anything out loud, so you can just kind of project whatever you want onto her.
Oh, right. What do you project onto her? Just that she's a
She's a really good, really scary publicist. I could totally imagine like being in a situation where I don't know, a company is doing something with Taylor Swift and you have to deal with Tree Paine, and it's like anything she says goes. Like, okay, we need to paint the office pink. Tree Paine said that we need to. I don't know. We just got to do it. Like, she would scare the shit out of me.
wow. What is this? I can't picture this one. What does Tree Paine look like? Is she an imposing figure?
She's an imposing redhead. Yeah, she's like a beautiful redhead who is like constantly commanding people around and wearing only black.
Only black.
That's the publicist look.
All right. I didn't know that. That is the
Well,
publicist look.
if you're like at an award show with like a pop star, it's like you wear like just a, a pretty like a nice but plain black dress.
Well, you don't want to overshadow your client.
Exactly. You want to look good and professional, but you don't want to overshadow anybody or seem like you're drawing any attention to yourself at all.
Right. All right. Well, what else is happening?
Let's see. Excuse me. So, now, OJ Simpson, though he is dead, is still in the news, it looks like. Brad, you brought this one to my attention.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, OJ Simpson's ashes are being made into jewelry.
Yeah. I mean, OJ's longtime lawyer and now executor of his estate tells TMZ that the juice's remains have been transformed into cremation jewelry, which was divvied up among his 4 adult children.
I want to see what the jewelry looks like. Sometimes cremation jewelry is like kind of goth and amazing.
I'll be honest, I'd never heard of cremation jewelry.
See, you don't browse Etsy the way that I do, but like if you're looking for weird shit on Etsy, sometimes you'll see a necklace and you'll be like, I love that necklace. Like maybe I could put a Xanax in that. And then it's like, oh, that's for ashes.
You put Xanax in your necklaces?
Well, if I had one that had a compartment, I would, but
Uh,
it's all this cremation jewelry and that's kind of harder.
I mean, I guess it makes some sense. Like you lose a loved one, they get cremated, you have some bit of their cremains like put into like a pendant or like a
You can get it made into like a fake or like a lab made diamond. If you're like really rich, you can get ashes like pressed into a lab made diamond. I mean, I don't know like how real it is or if they actually are using your ashes or whatever the fuck, but
well, it's carbon, right? So yeah, I don't know how that all works, but yeah, I mean,
there's a whole plot point in the Kardashians about how Chris wants her ashes made into a diamond, but then they're like, we can't make it into fucking 9 diamonds or however many of us there are. It has to be one, and then we're gonna fight over the diamond. And
it's this is the question for me. I don't know. I didn't read deeply into this story, but like my first thought when I read that headline was that the estate was going to make this cremation jewelry and then try to sell it to make more money.
I mean, that would be incredible. Like, I'll bet Marilyn Manson would buy a piece of OJ cremation jewelry. That piece of shit.
So what's this type of process cost? Malcolm, I think OJ's executor or whatever, says the final total was $4,243.06,
That
which
seems like not that much for 4 kids to get like a nice piece of jewelry.
which included the cost of cremation, the jewelry, and death certificates.
What? What is it made of? Tin?
As we first reported, Malcolm is trying to liquidate most, if not all, of OJ's assets to pay off the mountain of debt he left behind,
Mm.
including tens of millions still owed to the Goldman family. So he just left like a shitload of debt. I'm not surprised.
So he never paid off like Ron, like who he murdered.
Yeah. He owed, he lost that civil trial
Mm-hmm.
to the Goldmans after he was acquitted in the criminal trial. And what happened was I think shortly before the ruling came down or right after it came down, I don't know the exact timeline, but I remember in the documentary, did you ever see that documentary about OJ called Made in
Psycho.
America?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Whew, like so
Fucking
great.
so good.
But after he died, I rewatched it just because like he was in the news and I was like, oh yeah, I want to
Is it a
see
good
that
rewatch?
again. Say again.
Is it a good rewatch?
It is. It's like the multi-part. It won the Oscar. And
It's so good. I watched all fucking million hours of it.
well, the thing that's so great about it is that it's not only great on the OJ murder thing, but it's also just like a great like X-ray of American culture and like the racial politics and history of
Yeah.
America. Like that's why the movie is so resonant. Is that like OJ is like this kind of symbol or like example of the that illuminates these deeper themes. But when the civil trial came to pass and the ruling came down, I want to say shortly before it came down, OJ had friends of his go into his home and start removing like paintings, like
The
Warhols and all,
bag.
like because OJ went to the golf course, as I recall, so that he would have a alibi.
Right.
And then he had friends of his go in, start removing all the valuables
To make it
because
look like a robbery.
no, just so that he could claim when the court came to like claim all his shit for the Goldmans, like I don't know where it is, I don't have it. And then it was stored in all of these storage facilities in California.
Wait, so what? So he took, like,
He
after he murdered Ron Goldman, he took his stuff?
well, he was hiding it so that the Goldmans could not lay claim to it as part of the settlement. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Oh,
owes
his own stuff, not Ron Goldman stuff. He's
no,
hiding
OJ
it
took his
away.
own shit. Like OJ had all these
And
like,
hid it so that they couldn't be like, we're going to take this painting from you or whatever.
right. So he sort of hid his valuables and then who knows what he did with them. Maybe he needed cash and he sells like a Warhol on the black market or he sells it through a third party, to sort of launder it and stuff
I
like
see.
that.
And
Yeah.
did they find that out in the civil trial?
No, I think it was like hard to nail down because OJ had this, it was like, I was at the golf course. I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? He's just sort
Yeah,
of like hustled it. But I think that
but they
if I'm the
want.
Goldmans, I'm trying to get every fucking penny
Oh yeah, I'm
from that.
suing the shit out of that estate.
Yeah, just give me. I want the forks and the
Yeah.
knives
I
sold.
want the house. Yeah, exactly. I want the china. I want the
Yeah,
fucking like. I want the antique jewelry from grandma. Like I want all the fucking shit. Like oh,
yeah.
this is just has sentimental value. Give it to me anyways. I don't give a fuck. Like I would be for everything. And my mom went to this is wild to think about. My mom went to high school with OJ's daughter, um, which means that they were like I believe in high school or maybe their first year of college during the trial.
Oh my
I
god.
think senior year of high school during the trial, which is like, and apparently she was like incredibly nice, just like a nice, normal girl. My mom hung out with her sometimes, like really just a nice person. And then like the trial happened, and her mom would drop her off to school every day, and it would just be like, no one talked about it.
Well, you got to say this. You don't hear much from those kids. They've lived
No,
quiet
you don't.
lives,
I would.
and I feel horrible for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad, and I don't know. I know that the Browns, like Nicole's family, they had to have some custody claim, right? OJ got primary custody, but they got some visitation or something, right?
OJ got primary custody?
He's their father.
That's fucking insane, dude.
That's what I mean. It's like so sad. Your dad is like,
A straight up murderer.
and
Murdered your mother.
he raises you, but like probably not the most.
It's
I mean, I
probably
don't
like
know.
nannies and shit. Like I have to imagine. Like
Yeah, the compartmentalization that he would have to pull off as like the murderer of his own children's mother, and then he's raising them. But so far, I haven't heard stories of these kids being on drugs or like,
the
you know,
Kardashians remained, or at least Kris did, remained close with the Goldman family. Also, I wonder if there was some like money that she helped them with or something when they like got rich. Because like Kris was like best friends with Nicole,
oh
or not
really?
the Goldmans. Is that no
Well, Nicole was
Brown?
killed
She
with
was
Ron
like
Goldman, right?
yeah, she was friends with the Browns rather. Kris was really good friend and still is like friendly with them. Like they're like family friends because she was like I mean, you saw probably in the OJ documentary how it was this crazy thing where like her ex husband Rob Kardashian was defending OJ. OJ had been like their friend for a long time, and on the Nicole side of the court was Kris because she was best friends with Nicole, and so
Yeah.
it was like this wild thing. And in fact, like you talking about like them hiding OJ's belongings, this wasn't about hiding his belongings, but like there was famously a bag that was missing in the
Well,
OJ trial.
you see it. You see it in the documentary. You see Robert Kardashian
Yeah,
walking away with it.
exactly. And there was a moment in the Kardashians show on Hulu, which sucks and I don't recommend it. But there was a moment where Kim Kardashian says, I remember being a little kid and opening the closet and seeing that bag and being like, oh, there's OJ's bag. And not realizing, what the deal was.
Why,
And
dude? If I was charged with disappearing that bag, I would have like rented a boat and taken it out into the
it was
Pacific
just in his
Ocean,
bedroom fucking closet.
dude.
And like fucking teenage Kim Kardashian just, there it is. And
That's
she just
fucked
like
up.
years later, it's like, oh yeah, no, my dad fucking hid evidence from the federal government for sure.
All right. I mean, yeah. What like that's a strange bedfellow. I get that he's your friend, but like once it becomes clear that your friend like savagely murdered two people,
Yeah,
that's when
Rob
you
Kardashian was a piece of shit for fucking continuing that.
yeah.
And like Johnny Cochran really fucking destroyed an incredible career. Like just incredible career, incredible fucking lawyer, and then OJ.
I mean, he's a defense attorney. He got hired. He did
I
his
mean, he was
job.
great. He did his job really well, but like, fuck, dude, did you really have to do that?
Yeah. Well, and Alan Dershowitz was on that team too. I mean, that
Fucking
guy.
the Dersh. It's like every fucking where you go in history where there's some fucked up thing happening, some fucking pedophile, some murderer getting off. It's like the Dersh is always just somewhere in there.
Mira, I remember where I was when the verdict got read. I was in college. You were 3 years old.
When was the verdict read?
I
Like
want
what
to say
year?
1995.
Wow. Yeah, I was
So
three.
yeah, I was like stoned, and I was abroad. I was studying abroad in Australia, and I remember it like it was, that day. It was like, oh my god, he got acquitted. So fucked up. And I also remember very, very. I mean, it's funny that I do remember because I really was like taking bong hits and watching a basketball, like an NBA playoff game. It was the Knicks and the Houston Rockets, and it was summer. It was June when OJ took off in that Bronco, and they cut away from the game, and they were like, it was like picture in a picture, right? And like it was the
That must have
Bronco,
been wild.
and we were just
Like,
like,
like basketball game, and then like Bronco and like a picture in the corner.
yeah, it became this. I mean, it's like you see it in the documentary. It's like it was this huge cultural moment. And in a lot of ways, it's like really strange to think about, but in a lot of ways, like the reality TV culture that we sort of have lived in ever since was kind of, it began with that moment, and then the
It
subsequent.
literally did,
Yeah.
because it went from that to Ryan Seacrest being friends with Kris Jenner and understanding that that family and their connection to OJ could create a good reality television show, which created the template for every reality television show that exists now. It's
Well, and it's
people
like the
their
trial
lives
too. I
and
feel
just
like
like,
the whole trial and the way that like everybody's eyes were glued, there were clearly like television executives
I mean, yeah,
taking notes.
absolutely. Like the way that like that televised trial, the fucking chase in the Bronco, like led to Keeping Up with the Kardashians in this wild way. Like it is like the genesis of reality TV in more ways than one, that feels like so, I don't know, like it was just like a real confluence of things or something that like led to this weird moment that now we have Real Housewives.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's crazy to think about. It's the reason I think that story just resonated so deeply, is that it's like it's got real depth to it,
Mm-hmm.
and it speaks to a lot of different like issues in our society. I don't know. If you haven't seen OJ Made in America, the documentary, multi-part, you have
Really
to watch it. It's like mandatory viewing, I think.
good. Yeah.
It's such like a beautifully done documentary, and I want to say it's like what, 8 hours long or something, but
Mm-hmm. But
it's
like if you need content, like I feel like people who aren't from Los Angeles, and I'm from here and I didn't even fully realize, but like maybe don't understand the effect of like the LA riots and police racism being like at the forefront because of the LA riots
right.
had on this particular case, and how like much that set back like issues of police violence, like that like OJ just got off even though he clearly was like did the murder. Like it just like very much confused the issue of like racism, police violence, like whether, you know, he's a black man who is being wrongly persecuted or a murderer. Like it really was like a weird cultural moment.
Yeah, like the Rodney King thing in
Mm-hmm.
92, I think it
Yeah.
was. And then OJ 94, 95. It's all tied together. And then there was also like the Watts riots, you know, when
Mm-hmm.
OJ was at
Mm-hmm.
USC and was in college. That's part of the documentary too. So like there's a historical lens that you can look at all of this through that's
Totally.
fascinating. By the way, Mira, this is like, we're getting sort of deep and like academic in
Mm.
our show in ways that I think our listeners might be surprised by, since we're usually very lowbrow on this show.
Look, I love
Uh,
being lowbrow, but I also love cultural moments that involve murder and crime. Not that I like it happening, but I like learning about it.
if you could have a piece of OJ cremation jewelry, like made to order, what would you want?
Oh, like what piece of jewelry would I want?
Yeah.
Hmm. I mean, like it would be so cursed to wear that. Like I think like my whole life would get cursed if I wore that.
I mean, right?
It would be like so, but like I can't tell. Like, would I want people to not know that it's OJ, or would I want it to be obvious that it's OJ?
I mean, I think it could be either way. I'm thinking like subtle. It would just be like a piece of jewelry, and like you would explain to people like this is made from the juice.
I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna say it should be like this big, and it should be like a diamond studded white Bronco. You know, like a big like 3-dimensional diamond studded white Bronco with
Yeah.
the blood on the car handle door
Wow.
that he left, and maybe a glove with like made out of like black diamonds or something like that.
I
What would
mean,
you choose?
I don't know. It would have to be something like a ring. I don't wear jewelry. I don't even wear a watch. I don't wear anything.
I mean, I'm just going off like the assumption that no matter what it is, I would never wear it, so it might as well be the most insane possible thing.
I think the Bronco. I mean, the Bronco would be fucking awesome, but I think it would have to be. I don't know. I don't wear a necklace. I would have to be some sort of ring. I don't even wear
Yeah.
rings. I wear my wedding ring. That's it.
It could be like a pinky ring, like a signet ring that just says OJ on it.
That's right. It would just be, yeah, I just would want like a big like pinky ring that said
Yeah.
OJ.
Yeah, big ass pinky ring.
Just a conversation. That's a conversation starter. You'd always have something to
Why
talk
does your
about.
ring say OJ? Well, let me tell you.
Can I just say as a sidebar that like men who wear pinky rings, like the sight of a pinky ring kind of creeps me out. Uh,
It depends on the dude. If he's got rings on like every finger and that's like his look, fine.
okay. But then I'm talking about like the dude who just has the pinky ring. And then the other thing that
Bad vibes.
really, really bothers me is when men have longer fingernails.
Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.
Like,
It's the most I like it's like that and spit are two of the most disgusting things in the world. I hate it.
I
People
mean,
spitting on the street, can't stand it. Men with long fingernails, disgusting.
disgusting.
Like just like saying it gives me the ick is like not even enough.
I
Like
can't
just
run away. I can't run away fast enough.
yeah, it's like I like you should be in jail. Like I'm calling the police on you. Get away from me. Like no, like cut your fucking nails.
Dude,
It's like just really basic. Like I understand that I have these nails. These are fake. I keep them very clean. I do them myself. They're very I'm very hygienic about this, okay? And they're fucking fake. My nails are short under this. Real nails this long, it seems kind of gross.
yeah, I totally agree. And like as a parent, it's like something I obsess about is because like sometimes you forget your kids. Like you look down at your kids and your kids will have these like dragon nails. Not my kids.
No,
I will not allow that shit. I'm like, you are going to be well groomed. You are not
I
going to be
mean,
disgusting
yeah.
going to school with like these dirty fucking fingernails. Like, ugh.
I mean, a lot of people might not know this about Brad, but he does get pedicures. Not maybe not every week, but on a semi-regular basis. And I think Brad has convinced me over the years. I think this is something that men should do.
I have
Every
talked
now
about
and
this.
then, get yourself a pedicure, fix yourself up,
Yeah,
get a manicure too. Fucking fix your shit.
it doesn't make any sense to wash your hair, get your hair cut, wash your hands, wash your face, take showers, but not deal with your feet.
Yeah,
What
that's
the
right.
fuck? It's
That's
like,
absolutely right.
and I think that there's like this, what's the word for it? Monopoly that women seem to have
On
on
taking care of your feet.
taking care. Like women can do it, but if men do it, it's somehow
Gay.
gay or feminized. It's like, no.
Right. It's like you need to have like a 3-in-1 body wash that's like bullet flavored or something, and that's it as a man.
And like, have you ever seen like a guy walking around in like open-toed sandals and his feet are
Ugh.
disgusting?
Ugh. It's like
Like,
men wearing open toed sandals is questionable to begin with, but it's like, okay, you're at the beach or whatever. Fix your shit. Don't like make everyone look at your gross shit. Like it's
yes,
fucking weird. It's fucked
exactly.
up.
It's
Like
fucked up.
don't fucking do it.
And
Like
by the way,
women look
a
like little
pedicure,
girls. Like
costs like $25.
yeah, a pedicure for a dude, like where you're not getting polish, it's like really cheap.
It's not prohibitively expensive, and you don't have to do it, but like once a quarter.
Yeah, just do it like a couple times a year. Do it like every couple months or whatever. Like just go have like a bonding moment with a girl in your life. Go get pedicures together, whatever. Brad and I have gotten pedicures together many times.
And the other thing you can do is go by yourself because it is
Yeah,
relaxing as fuck. You just read a magazine or, scroll on your phone. It
and
takes about half an hour and you sit in this comfy chair and it's like,
no
that's the
one's
thing
looking
about
at
it
you.
is that like
No one's asking you
before I
questions.
did it, I was like, why are women doing this? And then I was like, oh, this is why it's nice.
It's nice. They do all kinds of oils and stuff. Your feet are in nice warm water, and it's like I feel like dudes like they don't like they feel like they'll go into like a salon and everyone's gonna be like, haha, like what you want, man? But it's like if you just go in there as a dude and say, I want a pedicure, they just go, okay, go sit down, and like no one even talks to you if you don't want them to. They just give
There's
you a pedicure.
Yeah, there's
It's
no gender rules in there. You can just
yeah,
go in. You can be a
no one
customer.
right. No one's gonna treat you like a freak. It's like every time I go get my nails done, there's some dude getting a pedicure. It's really, really normal.
Yeah.
And like just like I've had this conversation before. Like in the shower, when you're showering, do you know how many people just don't like wash their feet?
That's what
They're
I'm
like, oh,
saying.
soap just goes down my body. It goes down my legs and wash my feet. No, the fuck it doesn't. Wash your feet with soap. Pick up your feet with your hands. Wash them with soap.
Yeah.
Be normal. Don't just like, oh, walking around in water or whatever. Your feet are disgusting.
Dude, I could not agree more. Take
It's
care of yourself.
unacceptable. Like feet should never smell bad. Feet should never look disgusting. Like I don't like I'm not a foot person. I'm not a foot fetishist, but just
No.
like don't make your feet be an issue for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to deal with your feet.
Dude. Mira, this is maybe the most we've ever agreed on anything.
I mean, truly, like I think we are at like for the maybe first time like 110% agreement here. Like fix your feet. Make your feet not gross.
This is our unifying issue. It's just
This
like
is we're gonna run for president on this platform. Like men, fix your fucking feet. Your feet
Everybody,
are disgusting.
everybody.
Everybody.
I don't care who you are. Like,
Like
just take,
women generally know, but if your feet are fucked up as a woman, like fucking fix your feet too. Everyone needs they's fucking non-binary people fix your fucking feet.
like when your feet are like, I sometimes see these people whose feet are dirty and they got like these
Ugh,
crusty ass heels, and it's like,
ugh.
ugh, like take
Like,
care of it. And by the way, you can
at least
get
at
like, I don't even
home.
know what it's called, but you get these things and you keep in the shower where you can like,
A pumice stone.
yeah, pumice stone. You
Yeah.
scrub your feet with it.
Look, let me tell you, everybody. Here's what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, wash your feet in the shower. Get yourself a pumice stone. When you get out of the shower, sit down in your nice towel. Fucking scrub your feet off. Rinse them. You have nice feet. If you want to go crazy, get yourself some cream that has urea in it. Put it on
That
overnight.
has what in it?
Urea. Urea.
It sounds like urinary.
It does, yeah, but it has something to do with it. Apparently, it sounds disgusting, but it makes your feet soft. But you
All
don't
right.
even do that. Just wash them in the fucking shower.
Moisturize, like just like
Moisturize.
basic shit.
Like, here's what you need to do, just hygiene wise: wash your feet, moisturize your face, wear sunscreen, clip your nails. Done.
Yeah. Done.
That's it.
Brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth. Ideally
Uh,
floss, but that's tough sometimes.
I always floss. I've
I
always
do.
been a flosser. I think
I've gone to
flossing
the
is
same
important.
dentist. It is really important. I've gone to the same dentist since I was like a baby. Like they like have baby pictures of me in the hallway and stuff, and I have like a serious fear of disappointing Dr. Koo, and so I floss just because I have guilt.
Yeah, you don't want to get a cavity. That's like the worst feeling. You feel like you
Like I don't
failed.
want to get a cavity, but mostly I don't want Dr. Koo to be like, I can tell you haven't been flossing, Mira. Like it's worse than disappointing my dad.
Let me tell you something. I floss religiously, always have. And I have been told multiple times that I need to floss. And I'm like, they're like, your gums are bleeding. I'm like, motherfucker, I floss every day. There's no reason why. I mean, I don't know why that's
Yeah.
happening.
I mean, you've got sensitive gums. Like, do you get a lot of cavities?
No,
Like, how many have you had?
I don't know, like 2 or 3 in my
Okay.
life.
Yeah, same. I've like some teeth just don't get cavities as much. Like no matter like I like have known people who like are not good with their oral hygiene and still don't get cavities. And my
Yeah.
mom is really good and gets them constantly. I
Yeah,
feel
it
like gums
depends.
bleeding. It must be like if you do it every day, like
I think too, like sometimes like, you go to the dentist and they're like scraping your shit with those tools. Like it's going to start bleeding. Like it's not
mhm.
because you don't floss. It's because they're scraping your gums with these.
Yeah, that's especially why one reason why I love my dentist so much is that because my family has been going there for so long, he will personally do our teeth cleanings instead of having like the hygienist do it. And
Oh,
she's like not as good as he is, so
special treatment for
special treatment.
for Mira's family.
Yeah, but also he'll guilt me really bad if I don't, fix my teeth. So it's a give and a take.
You only get one set, man. Take care of your teeth.
That's what Dr. Koo says.
Yeah. So I think it's time for Brad Learns.
Brad learns. Music, please.
And I've got to learn about something that I have been hearing and seeing in the culture repeatedly without any sense of its origin story. And I'm hoping that you can teach me about this. It is the mindful, cutesy, demure meme trend that I think it's permeating from TikTok. I don't know where it comes from, but
So there is a TikToker whose name is Jules LeBron, Jools. And she basically did a TikTok, and I'm gonna play it for you. But it's about how
who the fuck is Jules LeBron? Just a TikToker?
I have no idea. She was a TikToker who,
But like a rando. It's like a
like
rando.
a rando. Yeah, a
Okay.
rando.
Yeah.
I think maybe she was like vaguely popular on TikTok. But, like I had no idea who she was. So she's doing a TikTok about how you should do your makeup for job interviews and for working. And so I'm gonna play that right now.
Very mindful while I'm
Now,
at work. See how I look for work?
wait.
Very how I do my makeup for work? Very demure, very mindful. I don't come to work with a green cut crease. I don't look like a clown when I go to work. I don't do too much. I'm very mindful while I'm at work. See how I look very presentable? The way I came to the interview is the way I go to the job. A lot of you girls go to the interview looking like Marge Simpson and go to the job looking like Patty and Selma. Not demure. I'm very modest. I'm very mindful. You see my shirt? Only a little chichi out, not my chocho. Be mindful of why they hired you. Here's your reality check, diva. What's the name you'd like me to make it out to?
So that TikTok went ultra viral, and now everybody is basically doing anything and saying, very mindful, very demure, very cutesy. A lot of you bitches are going to the interview looking like Marge and going to the job looking like Patty and Selma.
Who's Patty
No
and
rules
Selma?
to
Why do I
treat.
not know this?
The Simpsons, Patty and Selma?
I never watched The Simpsons.
Oh, bitch, you never watched The Simpsons?
Never watched
What?
Seinfeld.
That's one
I
of the
didn't watch
jokes.
Friends. I don't watch anything. I don't
I
know
didn't
what
know Seinfeld or Friends, but The Simpsons?
I mean, I've seen
On.
episodes, but I'm not one of these people who can like quote.
Well, so since you are completely detached from reality and have been living under a rock Patrick Star style for your entire life, I guess,
Yeah.
Marge Simpson is Homer Simpson's wife in The Simpsons.
Yes,
And
I know
her
that.
sisters are Patty and Selma, and they're
Oh,
like chain smoking, kind of like their hair, like, you know, Marge's hair is up like this, their hair is like down like a mess, and they're like, I'm Patty and Selma, we've been smoking for 25 years or whatever, and they're like all over the place. So
got it. Yeah.
you show up to the interview looking like Marge Simpson, you show up to the job looking like Patty and Selma. Not very mindful, not very demure.
Not very demure. Like what's so fascinating to me is how this shit goes from some rando's TikTok to being like everywhere in a
It's
span
like
of a
an
week.
earworm. It's like once you hear her saying it like that, once you hear her saying like, do you see how I do my makeup? Very cutesy, very mindful, very demure. You won't be able to stop saying it.
Yeah.
When Natasha and I talk to each other now, like I'll be like getting a glass of, like the other day I was at her house getting a glass of water. I spilled a bunch of water on the floor and I was like, I spilled water all over your floor. Very mindful, very demure.
By the
It's
way,
impossible.
Natasha is Mira's best friend, your
Yes,
BFF.
that's, yeah, no, I'm just referring to her like she's someone you all know, but she's just my best friend.
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating. It's fascinating how these things become cultural currency and become sort of like embedded into everybody's brains. Like
You'll find yourself saying it,
if it reaches me and I'm asking you about it,
then it's big.
then it's big. And it's like the thing too is like I've never become an earworm. Nothing I've ever said has made people
Me neither.
suddenly. Yeah, but I don't think you can game it. I think it
No.
happens by accident.
This is like, I've had so many different jobs where they're like, I need you to make something go viral. I'm like, that's great. I've gone viral a bunch of times. I don't know how the fuck I did it. I don't know what the fuck the formula is, because there fucking isn't one.
There
You
isn't
post
one.
something that's funny, you post something that's an earworm, you post something that resonates with people, and then it goes viral. You can't just be like, here's a formula. This is how I'm going to go viral. She didn't expect to go viral with that shit. Like, that was a weird fucking TikTok that she did in her car.
It's like
It's like,
it's like the new Hawk Tua. Like, you know, like it's the same sort of thing though, right? It's
yeah,
like,
no, it is.
how are we all talking about this and how, and like, what'll be interesting is to see if the mindful demure person can then like spin some sort of like lucrative business
Well,
out of it.
apparently, just off of the money that she's made from that TikTok getting so many views, she has been able to pay for her gender affirmation surgery.
Wow.
So,
I mean,
very mindful, very demure.
very demure. I'm very happy for this person.
Very cutesy, very demure, very mindful, no cut crease. You can see a little bit of cha-cha, but none of her choo-choo.
What does this person look like? I can't picture.
This person looks like, hold on, let's see. Like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Very
So
demure, very mindful.
wow.
And you can see she is dressed very demure, very mindful.
Very
She's not
mindful.
doing, no contouring, no cut crease. She's not looking like Patty and Selma.
Mindful is a funny word to use in the context of like personal appearance.
It is.
You know, like in like beauty and like that kind of stuff. It's funny.
Also, just like the way that she was describing makeup terms was so funny, because it's like, if you're doing makeup, there's like contour. Do you know what contouring is?
I mean, I can kind of infer.
It's like you do your base, which is just the color of your skin, and then you'll get like a darker, like kind of like a bronzer kind of, and you'll do it like here, like on your cheekbones here, and then like under here like that, to kind of like, and like here to make your face sort of look more flattered or whatever. But it's the kind of thing that like everybody does when they're doing their makeup, like not always in a crazy way, but like a little bit. It just like is part of doing your makeup. And so for her to be like, see, I'm very demure, very mindful, no contouring, no cut crease, when she clearly has both on, is like very, very funny.
And what is there's another term I've been hearing called, is it muling?
Mewing?
Yeah.
I know what mewing is. There's actually a really good documentary on Netflix, if you're curious, about Dr. John Mew, who invented this. except he didn't invent it because it is face yoga, which has existed for women since like the 1950s. Mewing is a combination of things. I think I'm probably going to explain it poorly. It's a very like Jordan Peterson right winger, like kind of like looks maxing fucking bullshit that people do. It's so like Dr. John Mew came up with orthodonture that is like very much, he was like kicked out of like the board of orthodonture or whatever because he's using devices that are just unacceptable, where it's like there is like a stick in the kid's mouth so that like if they move their jaw in the wrong way, like it pokes them.
Oh,
So instead of it being like braces that actually move your jaw, it's like punishing the child and forcing them to move their jaw in a different way, essentially.
Jesus.
Which is where this idea of mewing comes from. And part of his theory is these devices where there's like tragic, insane stories of kids where it's like their parents were desperate, they got terrible issues with their jaw and their teeth. And then they get so deep into this like treatment with Dr. John Mew that like they can't get out of it. And they're, even though they've gotten to the point where like their child has this stick in their mouth and they're suffering, it's like their teeth are so fucked up that they like have to continue.
My God.
And he also came up with this idea of mewing, which is something that people do, which is, again, I need to emphasize, like, these men are constantly coming up with just new names for things that women have been doing since, like, the fucking 50s as beauty routines. It's face yoga. So, like, they'll do shit like, for example, let's see if I can do it here. One of the main ones is they'll say, okay, here's your jaw like this, right?
Uh-huh.
Looks like that. And then if you go, it, like, goes up like that.
All right. Oh, yeah, yeah. What are you doing?
You're just putting your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And so these people
I need to do that shit. I'm getting old. My neck is all fucked up.
And so this is like a tactic that like famous people use to get good pictures. If you're on the red carpet, like most women will be doing this with their tongue so that their jaw looks better.
You just put your tongue on the roof of your mouth.
Yeah, it's like putting your tongue on like the back of the roof of your mouth, basically. If you look at yourself in the mirror, you'll be able to kind of like see it. And so these dudes are convinced if they do this repeatedly, that they'll like gain some kind of muscle, which will allow their jaw to be permanently just like chiseled and defined. But then they'll do like even weirder shit where it'll be like, they'll go like, and they'll like do that for like fucking like 2 hours or whatever. And they'll chew gum constantly. And they'll do like, they call it like mewing, I think, because there's one where you go like literally. Like it's like just the dumbest shit ever.
Well, because I feel like Instagram in my algo, for whatever reason, maybe it's because it knows my age, but they want me to do face yoga. The ads that I get served are like, I've got to be doing face yoga. I can't believe you're not doing face yoga.
Except they're going to call it mewing because you're a dude and face yoga is gay.
I mean, I don't know, but it's like, my question is this, like, does that shit work?
No, it doesn't.
You're just going to age the way that your body's programmed to age. I mean, yes, eat right, exercise, wear sunscreen, moisturize, wash your face, like do all the basic stuff.
The only truly magic thing that you can do to age less is wear sunscreen. That's it. Sunscreen, hat, that is how you don't wrinkle. That is how you don't age. Plastic surgery, that's it.
That's it.
Like, I'm mewing all this shit. It's like, stay in shape, wear sunscreen. If you're rich, get all kinds of plastic surgery and make your face look however the fuck you want. But like, it's, I mean, it's just like preying on young men who were like, I'm not good looking enough, when in reality, the issue is that like, they don't think that like women are people or whatever. They're like, if I mew enough, women will want to fuck me, and like, they won't.
So I should not mew. You're not advising me to mew in my middle age.
No, I'm not. I mean, you can look up like research on it. And it will all tell you that it doesn't do anything at all. And
I also see, what do I say? I see a lot of people with a spoon in their mouth, like trying to like move the spoon. Like it's like it's like
that's probably mewing. I'm sure that's like one of the mewing things that I am not aware of. Like, yeah. And mainly they recommend you chew gum nonstop, just constantly chewing gum
to keep your jaw strong.
I guess so, to like get your jaw more defined or something. But like, it just doesn't work. Your face is a certain shape. If you lose weight, your face will look different. If you gain weight, your face will look different. But like, you can't really just like exercise muscles in your, because like what they're wanting for a chiseled jaw is to like lose fat in your face. That's what you have to do so that the bone is more visible. And so like just fucking exercising your jaw is not gonna do that. You can't like spot lose weight. You can't just be like, okay, I'm going to exercise my arm like this and lose weight in my arm.
No, I was getting on Instagram. I was getting an ad for a while where it's like you put like it looks like almost looks like a ball gag. Have you seen this thing that these guys
There's
like
like
chew?
devices. Yeah.
It's like a device that you put in your mouth and you're supposed to like chew on it. And like Joe Rogan, of course, is into it. So I mean,
Of course. And it's
what?
like, does Joe Rogan's face look any different than it did several years ago? Like, no. It
But I
looks
mean, he's on like HGH and shit, right? He's taking steroids.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he looks, but it's like that fucking like mewing shit. That didn't make his jaw look any better. Like,
I mean, it is what I think it is. You either have like this nice, like beautiful jawline or you don't, right?
yeah, or you fucking get injections or plastic surgery to give yourself a nice jawline. That's literally it. It's wild to me. Like, have you heard this term looks maxing?
No.
It's what it sounds like, where it's like dudes are like, okay, I'm gonna be like mewing and I'm gonna shave and I'm gonna do all these things to like looks max, to like make myself like look as like hot as possible.
Uh-huh.
And like I hear that and I'm like, that's what women do every day constantly. I'm looks maxing every day of my life, trying to look as good as I can. I'm putting on makeup, I'm putting on nice clothes. And these dudes are like, wow, what about like making your appearance nice? Like that's looks maxing.
I mean, look, I get that the term is sort of like absurd considering what women have to go through, but like I do think that this trend among men trying to biohack and perfect their looks
Biohack.
is a real thing. And it's
Yeah.
making me think of. It's a story we didn't cover, but it's this guy, the CEO of Telegram, who just got arrested in France.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name? Like Pavel
Patel.
Durov, something like that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't even familiar with him until this story broke, and I don't know all the details, but like I did see these pictures of him. Like, what is it with all of these tech bro CEOs and like Jeff Bezos? They're all trying to get ripped. Mark Zuckerberg, like this guy, the CEO of Telegram, is like chiseled. And then they showed the before and after pictures of him. It's just like Elon Musk. He used to be like this guy with the receding hair, like a total dweeb.
Oh, and he got like the fucking implants and just.
Oh, I mean, his hair now looks like his hair looks like Brad Pitt's hair, except it's dark. And he's utterly ripped, and he's like dipping himself into an ice bath. They're all into like punishing themselves in these ice baths. Like,
so fucking insane. It's like, do they have like some kind of like Catholic guilt thing going on where they're like, okay, I've like fucked up over so many people that now I have to like punish myself constantly with a fucking ice bath? Like, I don't understand it.
I think like, listen, I think there actually might be some scientific evidence that like cold plunging and cold exposure can be good for your immune systems. I don't think it's totally baseless, but like, I think these public displays of asceticism and discipline are meant as a show of dominance. It's like a display of like dominance and
like male dominance of
male dominance and competitive behavior. And like, I'm better than you. And I've figured it out.
Every girl I've ever met doesn't have more of a tolerance for pain and discomfort than these men. Like every girl I've ever met. Like men have no tolerance for pain or discomfort at all. They're fucking babies. They're always babies. Like, I'll bet he goes into fucking cold plunge every day and he's like, like every single time screaming at the top of his lungs. Whereas
not on his Instagram video. In his Instagram video, he's serene. He's just like,
I'm sure. That's after he did all of his screaming. Like, I know girls who go into that shit like it's a regular bath and just don't even fucking, facial expression doesn't even change. Like, these dudes, it's like they're getting, I think what's happening with them, honestly, is that like they have been so successful their whole life. They've been able to kind of like invent things, pay for things, do all of these things to avoid any of the issues that a normal person has to deal with. They don't have to deal with like rent. They don't have to deal with like, clothes or like, looking a certain way, cutting their hair, all this shit. It's dealt with. Now they're aging. Now they're getting older. Now they're saying, well, I have wrinkles on my face. I'm getting fatter. I'm more tired. I'm balding. Why am I not able to pay to fix this? Like, what? Like, I can pay to fix everything in my life. Why can't I pay to not age? And so they try to pay to not age. They're like, all right, let's pay to make sure that I have my hair back. Let's pay a trainer to make sure that I get super buff. Let's pay whatever the fuck to make sure that, I'm on a fucking, parasailing boat and get pictures of me doing it. Like all of this shit. Let's take Ozempic. Let's like, get fucking like all of this stuff that is trying so hard to fight back against aging. It's like, oh, I'm Jeff Bezos, let's put on a cowboy hat, I'm a young man again. Like, it's because like I can't pay to be young, so I'm gonna pretend to be young. Like, and it's pathetic. They're terrified of dying. They're terrified that like they're going to die and they're going to be seen as either nothing, someone that people forget about, or as somebody who people hate, which is how they're going to be seen when they die, no matter what they do.
I think they're also just like, this is just a minor inconvenience. I should be able to buy my way out
Mm-hmm.
of this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it's just unthinkable to them that like
Exactly.
anything that like plagues an average mortal would plague them,
Yeah, like what? Like I can buy my way out of literally anything. And like now you're telling me that I'm aging like a fucking homeless person? Like what the fuck? Like no.
Well,
And they do this
what's
weird shit.
fascinating to me though is like, I mean, in terms of like its impacts on the wider culture, is that among a certain set of men, this kind of behavior, like this constant biohacking, this constant attention to appearance, these constant, how many supplements do you take? Do you have a barrel sauna? Do you have an ice bath?
What is a barrel sauna?
It's like a home sauna that looks
Oh,
like a
okay.
barrel, but like you have to do the hot exposure and then the cold exposure. And then you have
It's not good
to,
for your skin to do hot and cold exposure like that. Like it's
I,
really not.
but I feel like this stuff is permeating. And because these guys have a lot of wealth, like financial wealth, and it seems to be like a mirroring behavior. Like Jeff Bezos is doing it, so then the CEO of Telegram has to do it, and so then blah blah
It's
blah.
what happens among billionaires where it's like, oh, one has it, I have to have it. Like, oh, like, Musk is doing a space thing. Me, Bezos, I have to do a space thing
Yeah,
now.
like
Like
Mark
it's
Zuckerberg's like, I'm training for MMA. It's like
exactly.
these guys all have. I think these guys all have like issues with masculinity.
Oh no, really? You think?
I mean, I don't know. I just, it's like I didn't realize it was this pronounced. Like, dude,
Oh
you're like
yeah. It's
beating on each
bad.
other and doing steroids and fucking looking like
It's
a
bad to the
Marvel
point
Comics
where
villain.
like it's bad to the point where like it actually like it's a dick measuring contest, but it actually doesn't matter how big their dicks are. Like even if fucking Jeff Bezos is like, I have a fucking 8-inch hog that is just like as good as any porn star in the world, he is still gonna feel not like a man. And he's always gonna feel like he's not a man because there's always gonna be something that's happening to him that he cannot buy his way out of. He's not gonna be able to get, a hot enough young wife. Well, he will, but like he's not gonna be able to have a good head of hair. He's not going to be able to, be cool at a concert. He's not going to be like, it's just like all
He
of these
can't be
things
cool
that they
anywhere.
can't
He's not
buy.
cool.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's another thing that they can't buy. They can't buy their way out of aging and they can't buy their way into being cool. And this is the two things that they want desperately because it's the things they can't have.
that's right. That's right. And they all have the yachts and they all want to go to space and they all
Yeah, they all want to have fun with celebrities. They all want to be friends with, different celebrities who are going to get them to do cool things. And those celebrities will drop them in a second because billionaires aren't fun. Like, and like, what are they, unless that billionaire is like going to provide the celebrity with money, the celebrity's going to get bored after a while.
Yeah. It's like, I'll come hang out on your yacht with my
Yeah.
girlfriend for like a weekend, but like, that's it.
Just so I can say that I did it. And then I'm going to be like, wow, this sucks. Like your cocaine was great, but like, that's it.
I cannot imagine anything I'd rather do less than hang out on Jeff Bezos's yacht. Like
dude.
to be stuck on that fucking boat with him.
I gotta
just be
say,
like,
I have such a dark fascination with wealthy people who are like that rich and that pathetic. I would love, maybe not on a boat because I fucking hate boats and I don't want to be on some kind of vessel in the middle of the ocean with the guy.
Me neither. Me neither.
If I could be in a room with Jeff Bezos for 6 hours, I'd be like, yes, I absolutely want to do that. I want to have a long conversation with Jeff Bezos.
I bet, honestly, if you just met him and hung out with him in an intimate way, like in an intimate setting where it wasn't like
Are you going to say that I would like him?
I'm saying it's possible.
I'm saying that it's not. Because I've got preconceived notions about him that, like, no amount of kindness could ever, I can never get over him. It's like if I met, like, someone who I knew owned a slave, and they were so nice to me, and just so hospitable and so kind. I'd be like, yeah, but I know in my mind that you own a slave, so...
Yeah, I mean, It's like, yeah, I mean, there's like deal breakers, like the way he's run his business.
People.
Yeah, the way he's run his business, like there's so many horror stories out of it, like Amazon warehouses and stuff. It's pretty brutal, but
I mean, I would just want to talk to him about himself, about his own feelings on a day-to-day basis. What does he do at night? What does he do in the morning? How does he feel about his life in general? How
he
does
fucking
he feel?
Works out and takes like 20 supplements is what he does.
But if you talk to him he'll be like, oh, well, I work on the morning, blah, blah, blah. If I had 3 hours with him, it would be like, we would be talking about his childhood. I think I could make him cry if I had 3 hours with him.
You do.
I do. I feel pretty confident.
We should get him on the show. He should come on here and talk to us.
I mean, if Jeff Bezos thinks that I can't make him cry, I would like to place a bet with him that I can.
I just like what I always want to do, and I guess it's probably not this simple, because it's like I'm nowhere near a billionaire, right? So it's like, what do I know? But like, what I always want to say to these people is like, look, you did great. You built this company, you deserve some credit for it. Like you built it from
Retire,
nothing.
bitch.
But like, if you want to be cool and you want to be beloved and you really want to have like cultural and social currency, watch what would happen if you devoted your life and your fortune to serving people in need.
Even the arts, even if it wasn't people in need. Let's say that you were a billionaire and you regularly funded independent artists' ability to make an album outside of a record label. Somebody who's really great, let's say Chapel Roan wanted to get off of her record label, and let's say some billionaire was like, here's $1 million, no strings attached, to make an album. That billionaire would be beloved.
I mean, there's some million ways you could do it, but like,
Yeah.
I'm just like so fat. I mean, there are very few. Like Jeff Bezos' ex-wife is like one of the only ones I can think of who truly is like, yeah, I'm going to empty the vault.
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of it. I'm
That's-
giving it away, and she's beloved.
Yeah. Even
You
I am
know?
like, all right, you're all right. Like, you
Yeah.
know, you were married to Jeff Bezos for so long that I question your whole thing, but actually that's pretty dope. Like,
And she, that doesn't mean she's not wealthy. Like, it's not like she's going to go
Yeah.
to the poorhouse. She's
That's
going to
the
still be
thing.
rich as fuck, but she's
You
giving
could give
away
half your money as a billionaire and still have enough money for you, your grandchildren, and their children.
and more.
And more.
It's
like your whole fucking family for generations will be wealthy, and you could give away so much of that money.
Dude, if you have $1 billion, do you know how much money $1 billion is? Like,
if I started counting from the moment I was born, I would be at about $1 billion now. That's how much $1 billion. Like, it takes, like, I think nearly 30 years to count to $1 billion.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like it's an astronomical, like $1 billion. Some of these guys, I don't even know where they're at, but they're like 50, 60, 70 billion dollars. Like,
it's psychotic.
It's too much for any person to have. It's definitely more than any one person could possibly deserve or earn.
After a certain point, it's hoarding. They're hoarding money, not to have money to be able to do things with, but just to have a number. Because if you're around a billionaire who, you know, has $3 billion versus 50, the 50 billionaires, you know, looks a lot cooler. And then you need 50 billion. It's just a fucking number.
You know, the guy who probably handled it the best is the CEO of Patagonia, Yvon Chouinard.
What did he do?
He gave his company to his employees.
See, that's what you're supposed to fucking do. Make it a worker co-op.
And he said too, like his public statement on it was something to the effect of like, I don't want to be a fucking billionaire.
Dude, yeah.
Like he's like, no thanks. Like that's not a title I want associated with me. And
no, I want to sleep at night.
Yeah,
I don't want to go to hell.
Yeah, and he's still like got a place in Jackson Hole.
Plenty of money.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
Dog appearance.
Well, Jeff Bezos. Oh, hey, baby dog.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Look at that dog. It's such a strange animal.
Yeah, it really
very
is.
Cute.
Like Pokemon.
All right. Well, I'm glad I learned what mindful, cutesy, and demure means. I'm glad we have untangled the intricacies of the billionaire conundrum, and we have officially invited Jeff Bezos to appear on this program.
That's right. That's right. Jeff Bezos, if you think I can't make you cry, bet. Show us.
I think we could be friends. This is the thing about it. I think if you get to know anybody on a human level, unless it's like a total fucking psychopath. I mean, I'm not talking about like Jeffrey Dahmer or something, but like
Jeff Bezos is like almost Jeffrey Dahmer level psychopath. Like true, like he has never like done it with his hands, but Charles Manson never murdered anyone with his hands either. So
yeah, I don't know, man. The world's complicated, and I just want everybody to be happy, Mira. I guess it's not possible.
I don't really want billionaires to be happy though.
Yeah. I want them to be, I think they would find happiness in devoting themselves to service because of all of this largesse that the universe
if they stop being a billionaire, then I would love for them to find happiness.
They would find it, I think.
Yeah.
I think like that's the thing, like you get so isolated and everybody wants something from you and it's like, yeah, everybody's fucking struggling except for you.
Yeah, but it's like they became that way because they are isolated people who are just bad to begin with. You don't become a billionaire if you're a good person.
All right. Well, on that note, we will leave our audience with bated breath awaiting the next episode of Brad and Mira for the Culture. Thank you for listening. Mira, it's great to talk with you. Baby dog, it's good to see you.
Baby dog also says goodbye.